Welcome back to the Seraphine podcast. I'm Seraphine, and today I'm talking about how I'm finding my way out of isolation and re-entering into our new normal with 7 helpful tips. And before I do that, I want to talk to you about this last year. This last year, most of us have experienced at least 3 major stressors. The stress of isolation, financial stress, and the trauma of grief-related stress. This is all stress that has been chronic and ongoing, and that in turn has a direct effect on our amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for perceived fear. The amygdala responds by sending signals to the hypothalamus, which stimulates the autonomic nervous system. So this is what we refer to as ANS. And ANS is stimulated, and your body releases all these stress hormones. And our body reacts in either fight, flight, or freeze mode. With our ANS being stimulated, our body physically reacts. So like the heart rate, it can go up or it can go down depending on where you are feeling that shut down feeling or that vamp up of endorphins. The lungs, your breathing can speed up, or you can almost hold your breath in anticipation or anxiety. Your eyes, peripheral vision begins to open up when you're stressed. You're looking for the dangers around you. Or the opposite can happen to where the stress is so much where you almost faint and the horse blinders come on to almost black. Your ears, they can perk up. You can hear the slightest bit of noise, especially in high stress situations, to where everything can make you jump. You ever have those days where, you're in the bathroom and one of your loved ones comes in and says, "Hey," and you're like, "What?" That's exactly the response your ears are having, is that perked up, every little sound is coming in just because your stress is heightened. Your blood, it actually thickens. So the clotting aspect of it will increase because it's preparing your body basically for injury because it's anticipating that stress. So with these factors of your body basically responding to stress hormones being released, you start to understand how you've conditioned fear in your body. So you've associated kind of a situation or thing, and you've attributed it with negative experiences. So when you are in this state, which we've all been in this last year, we have to figure out how to regulate the stress, the increase in stress hormone, and how do we enter back in to our lives in an effective manner. So with that in mind, I want to offer you my top 7 ways to step into your new normal. Dive right into those 7 tips on re-entering into your new normal, out of isolation. So, number 1, practice being in the present moment. At this point in time, it's hard to think about the future because right now everything is up in the air. So if you're in the present moment and you think about what is directly in front of you, this gives you some sense of control. Control right now is what none of us really have, except for our own actions and the way we conduct ourselves in the new normal. So practice being in the present moment. Think about what you've got to get done within the next hour, within the next few hours of your day, into the evening. Make them practical and don't beat yourself up for not getting that checklist done, especially on the timeline that you're within, which is the present moment. Number 2, I want you to recognize what you actually can control. So I think a lot of times we think that if we have a certain kind of structure in our life, if we have from 8 to 9 in the morning, we are going to meditate. From 9 to 10 a.m., we are going to get breakfast for the family and we're going to take the dogs for a walk. This is all wonderful, and I love a good plan, and I love using my planner. But at the end of the day, we know that there are things that are out of control. It could be that we're interrupted by a knock at the door during our meditation, or that one dog gets feisty with the other and you have to calm them down and pull them apart and it goes into breakfast time. And guess what? You know, your husband, your wife, your kids, guess what? They get a bowl of cereal or they get a piece of toast out the door. That's all right. The thing is that you can only control what's within your control and understand that you may have to pivot. Number 3, pay attention to your unique situation. Every single one of us has a unique situation from coming out of isolation. Some of us have health needs. Some of us have family members that have experienced some major difficulties, and we're going to have to help them out in the coming weeks into the next year. We could have lost our jobs. There's so many different factors that come into play, and no person's situation is worse or better than the other. We have to take into account that everyone is in a unique situation, and we have to be sensitive to how we react to others. Even though your situation may seem worse than theirs, take a deep breath, listen to them, and hear them out without judgment. Number 4, engage in something fulfilling. What actually fills your tank? In this last year of isolation, we have felt depleted. We've had limits put on us. We have had structure either taken away or put into play and trying to manage our existence. And a lot of times that's at risk of what actually fulfills us. There are certain things in our life that may not fit under the umbrella of what isolation had allowed us to do. So now as we gradually are starting to get acclimated and coming back into this new normal, I want you to think about the things that stir your soul. What allows you to live your best life? Limitations have been put on us, and now slowly but surely those limitations are coming off. So ask yourself, what is going to fulfill you today? Number 5, take a gradual approach. Just like anything in this life, give yourself some grace. For nearly a year now, we have been under a big question mark of how we are going to be living our life and what changes we need to make to live happy, healthy lives. We may be a little gun shy going in to the new normal, and that's okay. You have to be patient with yourself. So a gradual approach, try not to jump in head first into something that you know is already giving you anxiety. Think about your first interaction in a group of people. Are you going to make it outdoors? Is it going to be a small group? Are you even ready to be within a group of 6, 10, 15 people? Socially distancing yourself, maybe keeping your mask on. These are things that you should be doing. Gradual. It's not trial by fire. So take that into account as number 5. Taking a gradual approach into re-entering the new normal. Number 6, what I've been doing lately is journaling. And a lot of times my journaling is about practicing gratitude. It basically puts the big picture into perspective. My thoughts are a million miles an hour lately about what I did or didn't do and how I'm going to make up for it. And a lot of times that in and of itself can produce anxiety. The beauty about writing is that you can put your feelings down on paper. You can read them through and you can sit back and you can sit with it and ask yourself, maybe I'm asking too much of myself. Maybe it's not enough. but reread it to yourself. Think about what it is that is going to help you move forward in a place of gratitude, being thankful for what is going on in your life presently. Number 7, the final one, is to stay connected. We've been isolated for so long that as you re-enter, it is so important to have connections with people. Even if they're not ready to engage with you face to face, reach out to them, whether it's a phone call or a text message. Start to understand that connection is what's going to motivate us together making good decisions by having conversations about what our new normal looks like. I just gave you the top 7 ways to step into your new normal. Recapping: number 1, practice being in the present moment. Number 2, recognize what you can control. Number 3, pay attention to your unique situation. Number 4, engage in something fulfilling. Number 5, take a gradual approach. Number 6, journal. And number 7, stay connected. So with these top 7 tips, this is time for exposure therapy. Basically, exposure therapy is safely confronting your sources of fear. We're all going to have that moment where we're out in a group. You're going to feel your heart rate go up. You're going to be wondering, am I doing the right thing? Is my mask on? Am I too close? Am I saying the right thing? All of these thoughts that are in our heads now as we re-enter back into this supposed new normal, right? So with that kind of exposure therapy, take your time. You've just come out of social isolation, and you have to realize that that has short-term mental health impacts on your life. Think about it this way. Have your behaviors changed? I mean, all of ours have. We literally are reaching for a mask as we exit the door. We're constantly washing our hands. These are behaviors that, granted, I wish I had had them in the beginning before all of this transpired, but now it is a habit in my body. You know, slow and steady wins the race, and you owe it to yourself to honor your boundaries. As you navigate what this new normal is, I challenge you to take a breath and to think about what you were like when you first entered into isolation. Were you an extrovert? Were you someone who was always going out, having the time of your life, people all around you, right? Isolation might have made you feel horrible. You might have felt shackled in a cage. So re-entering into the new normal might be easier on you. If you're an introvert, you may have loved going into isolation. The idea of being in a place to where you feel safe, that you don't have too many people around you, that you're not bombarded with situations that make you uncomfortable. The introvert excelled during this time period. And then there's what they call the ambiverts, which is basically people who are ambivalent. They're kind of an extrovert, they're kind of an introvert, but they're coming into this reentry with this kind of ambivalence. So focus on the things that are either in your control or manageable, but not out of your control. In control is going to be positive in your life. You're going to lower your perceived stress. And if you focus on the things that are out of your control, I promise you it is going to be negative Nancy Town, and you're going to have a higher perceived stress. So really focus on the things that you can control. And also, I ask you with this question: on a scale of water, pure H2O, to toxic Diet Coke, how are you living your life? Are you working out? Are you spending 5 or 10 minutes just to be in your own body? Is self-care a part of your daily routine? Do you find yourself gaining energy once more? Or are you lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, eating bad food, and wondering what might happen, what could happen, what things are bad that are going to come at you? If you're in the second category, I invite you to take a deep breath and go back to those 7 tips. From 1 to 7, take a moment, evaluate what you can do within your own life, and make it simple. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others, because it's all there. We have that connection with each other. We now need to integrate understanding, openness, and patience. With that, that's my 7 tips. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you're doing to help you reacclimate your life in this big, crazy world that's been shut down for quite some time now. And if you enjoyed this episode, click the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for joining me for the top 7 tips. I'm Seraphine Rocha.